resources shared here are not personalized financial advice. So don't take it as a do or die or this is it kind of scenario, but it's just for education and empowerment. So here's how the evening will flow. Coming up is Dr. Lewis. Her keynotes will be followed by a moderated Q&A. Will take about 5 minutes, a comfort break. Then Investec Wealth will lead the 12-month action plan segment, followed by a Q&A, which will be hosted as well by the co-founder of the Vase, Mercy Msekiwa. I'm sure she can wave if you can see her. Thank you, Mercy. So I guess that's what how we're going to have this webinar today. One thing, if you're with us in 2025, if you were with us in 2025, thank you for coming back. We really appreciate your support and following the Vase. And if this is your first time, if this is your first Vase session, you're more than welcome and we're more than elated to have you. We'll also be sharing details soon for our 2026 Leadership Summit, which will be hosted in July, and other programs. We would love to see you there and continue this journey with you. Now it's my pleasure to welcome the keynote speaker, Dr. Louise Frankel.
Thank you so much, Tatenda and Mercy, for putting together the Vase. It's a wonderful organization. If you're not familiar with it, you really do need to go online and Google the Vase so that you can see all the wonderful things that they do. I'm honored to be here with you today, and I am going to talk to you about the mindset of getting rich. And then Karina is going to really talk to you about the nuts and bolts, because when my publisher, when Nice Girls Don't Get the Corner Office first came out and it was successful, the publisher came back and said, well, now we want you to write a book about women getting rich. And I said, but I'm not a financial planner. And they said, but you know how women think. So we want you to do it from the how they think standpoint. So that's exactly how we have it divided up today. I am going to be talking about how you think. Karina's going to talk about how you put it into action. Okay? I welcome questions as I go along. So please put your questions in the chat and I will pause every now and then and I'll say, okay, do we have any questions? And I think, Mercy, you're handling the chat, correct? Okay, good. Let me share my screen now so that we can get started. In the wrong place here. I got to go back to the beginning. So sorry about that. I had added something at the last minute. Okay, can everybody see this okay? Everybody, can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, good. All right. So let me first talk about nice girl syndrome very briefly, because people who are not familiar with me or my work, they think that when I say nice girls can't or nice girls don't, that I'm saying you can't be nice and be successful, or that you can't be nice and be rich. That's not what it means. Nice girls syndrome is when you behave according to the rules you were taught in childhood were appropriate for little girls, right? Like little girls should leave things to the men, or little girls should not speak up, or people won't like it if you're too loud, or those are nice girl messages. So when I talk about nice girls can't get rich or nice girls don't get rich, I'm really talking about if you act like the child you were taught to be when you were little, you'll never achieve your adult goals, whatever those are. So part of what I try to do is give you some new behaviors so that you can step into your adulthood. Okay. And I'm going to be going through this relatively quickly because this is an hour presentation that we have distilled down to about 30 minutes or so. Okay. Now, next, what's rich? What's really interesting to me is when I talk to women about getting rich, I can't tell you how often they say to me things like, well, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. And I say, what's wrong with getting rich? Hey, listen, I've been poor and I've been rich. And I want to tell you, rich is better. Okay. And so you need to start thinking about how you get rich. I define rich as having all the money you need to live your life the way you want, free from concerns about money. So I'm not putting a dollar figure on that. You put the dollar figure on it. How much money do you need to live your life the way you want, free from concerns about money. Once you've achieved that, then guess what? You're rich now. Uh, now, and money, getting rich isn't just about financial planning. It is about that for sure, but it's also about financial thinking. Okay, you really need to think about getting rich. I can tell you from my own experience, before I started focusing on acquiring wealth, on investing, saving, really planning for my future, I was just spinning my wheels. And you might be like that too. But then once I said to myself, no, I don't want to just survive. I want to thrive. Once I started thinking differently, then I started noticing things differently. And I started learning about things that were going to really help me to achieve my financial goals. And you can do that too. Believe me, if I could do it, you can do it. I did not come from a family of wealth. I didn't inherit any wealth. I just started thinking about how am I going to thrive and not just keep surviving. Uh, well, I just want to pause for a second and ask, what were some of the messages you got in childhood about money? What were the money messages in your house? And I'm going to just ask anybody, could you please put it in the chat? What were the money messages that you got? And while you're doing that, I can tell you, all I heard the whole time growing up is you have to save, 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 save. But nobody told me about investing. The fact is, if I just saved my money, I would not be where I am today because it's really through savvy investing, whether that's investing in stocks, whether it's investing in a home. And again, Karina's going to talk to you about all this. I couldn't have gotten as far, but that's all I heard was that you were supposed to save. I didn't even hear that you could spend on things that would make you happy. And I think I was probably 60 years old before I would let myself spend on things that just would make me happy. So what do we have? Do we have any comments in the chat there, Mercy?
Yes, absolutely, Dr. Franco. And coming up most the one that's the one that's coming absolutely, Dr. Franco, and the one that's coming up
Oh, Mercy. Oh, Mercy. You are on some kind of a loop. So you know what? I'm going to go into the chat and I'm just going to take a quick look. I can't do that now over here. But we can't hear you, Mercy. Can you try again?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Tatenda, can you go into the chat and see if you have any more luck?
Sure, Dr. Lewis.
Because Mercy, what's happening is that it's a stutter is on.
Sure. We have some responses. We have one from Sibongi Nkosi Ritsinga. The love of money is the root of evil. We have one from Natalie DeBarros. You should never rely on your partner to have money. You must have your own money. And Michelle Muzengi says that it was the root of all evil as well. And Sophie says not enough and share always. Shemaine says it's evil. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, listen to all those evil messages, huh? Are there any more positive ones to tend to? Because there was that one positive one in there where it was you should always have your own money, and that I really agree with. Was there any more positives?
I guess that you need to save as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. From Rubitzai,
Okay.
Rubitzai Mushoshi.
But really, nobody got the message, myself included, that you could be rich, right? Either rich is the root of all evil, or you should just save, 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 save. Right? But nobody was, and you should have your own money, which is really a good thing. But nobody was really talking to you about getting rich. Now, what's interesting is I have two brothers. They got messages about getting rich. So I need you to think about, do you have brothers or maybe male cousins? And did they get the same message that you got? And if not, if they got different messages, this is one of the reasons why women don't get rich. So thank you for sharing that. I don't know what this is here on the screen. Lionel, I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to keep going because it didn't come from my end. I didn't do anything differently. So what are some of the social barriers to wealth for women? Well, sometimes it is these mixed messages that we get. You have to save, but money is the root of all evil. You know, if you were given that message, money is the root of all evil, you got to get that out of your head. You need to exorcise that message because that's going to really get in your way of acquiring the wealth that you need to thrive. Next, we're socialized to believe that doing good and doing well are mutually exclusive. In other words, I can do good in the community, but that means giving my money away to the community, right? And so I can't do good and I can't do well. But I want you to think about it. I'm doing a lot more good now that I'm doing well, right? Because the more that I have, the more I have to share. And the same will be true for you. If you have concerns about doing good in your family or your community, you need the wealth to be able to do it. Money is power, and women are reluctant to embrace power. So that's another reason why we tend to stay away from thinking about getting rich, because money is power. People who have money are powerful. And I'm not saying that's how it should be. That's just how it is. We're not taught to advocate for ourselves. Right? We're kind of taught that, many women are taught that somebody else will handle the money for you. But I'm glad that at least somebody's parents in there, based on the messages, told you that you got to handle your own money. We're more likely to share our money than men, you know, and for those of you who live at least in Zimbabwe, and I'm assuming most of Africa, you have this thing that's called the black tax. Now, for those of you who are not in Africa, you're probably like me. When they first told me about it, I had never heard of the black tax. Although when I asked a few of my Black friends here in the United States, they told me exactly what it was. And the black tax is when you start making money, you're expected to share it with your family. And I think that that's good to an extent. But to another extent, if you are guilted into giving more than you can afford because it doesn't leave you anything to invest or save for your future, then that's probably not a good thing for you. And again, Corinne is going to be talking to you about some of this. There's the mommy penalty, right? That your career could be going very smoothly and you're making a lot of money. And then all of a sudden you leave to have a child. And the career really, there's a penalty for that. Men don't have that penalty for dropping out for a while, raising children, and coming back. When women come back, they often don't come back at the same level as when they left. And lack of encouragement from men. You don't have a lot of men, whether it's, you know, your brothers or your male partners or your husbands, encouraging you to get rich. Right? That's usually not how it happens. So these are all social barriers. I'm going to skip some.